Flag will wave at the back, and then the start marshal will be removed from the front, and then of course we can get going. So keep your eyes on the left-hand side. Of course, Ramadhipa and Bahosa alongside as well. Alvaro Lucas hoping for a good result in the 46 as we go racing in race 1 of the European Talent Cup. It's lights out as we head to turn 1. It's quite a long drag on these ETC machines as it's almost free wide going into turn 1. Now 69 Bahosa up into P2 there for him, but at the front it still continues to be the Italian, the 81 Gabarini leading the field. Alvaro Lucas up into P4 at the moment, sitting there. He'll go into the slipstream. Ramadhipa in P2 now as your race leader, or what was your race leader, your pole sitter, Gabarini, ran wide and had a massive moment there, so perhaps just getting caught out offline.
Perhaps getting caught out by the conditions, just running wide. A bit of a smoke coming there, perhaps just under braking the tyre, locking slightly, or a bit of rubbing. Oh, a big crash at turn 5.
Yeah, so a big crash at turn 5. Quite a few riders down there, and quite a few riders there just trying to pick up the machines as quick as possible before we will carry on at the front. But some disappointment there, definitely, as they tried to get the bikes restarted. But at the front, Ramadhipa hits the front now, overtakes the 69 of Bahosa, and well, the race is certainly on. And now trying to get into the slipstream, Gabarini had indeed dropped back, but perhaps now going to be dropping back for even further down the order, back down to P5, because, well, Lucas on his tail as things stand, as 69 looks up the inside once more. A dive bomb there over at turn 13, and now Ramadhipa is going to fight back as they head into the final sector now, as the cleanup operation at turn 5 continues.
Yeah, Bahosa looked like he got a great start as lights went out, was just unable to hold P1 through turn 1, but settled into that slipstream place. He's gained from his grid position, obviously still has the double long lap to take.
So Karpushin there shown as one of the riders that have crashed. Almeida as well. It looks like Ethan Sparks was well down, as the 99 and 69 have been given their penalties to serve from now on. Of course, TNF having fought through earlier on today, he's put in all that work, and now race over at lap 1 as Bahosa at the front of the field.
Bahosa's taken the lead, ran slightly wide there, but able to keep it. Ramadhipa inside the in the slipstream will get a great run heading into turn 5. Question about whether yellow flags will still be out, and it looks like they are with the light flashing there. So something just flying off in the background there as well. Yeah, that looks like a front mudguard that was bouncing its way through the gravel trap there. So no more front mudguard for one of the riders in this group. But Ramadhipa now looking up the inside once more on the 32. He does, in a very, very aggressive move. He takes the lead. It was hard, but it looks like Bahosa was just able to keep on to the circuit. I think the 69 perhaps just got a bit of a scare when he seen the 32 of Ramadhipa coming up his inside. It did look like that, but able to keep the bike upright, slots back into second place, and will look to take the fight to Ramadhipa on this lap.
Yeah, and certainly now, as the number 7 Borelli looks to make a move, and this is a replay of the incident. So they began just a bunch up further down the order, and it looks like, yeah, it was just a chain reaction. Unsighted riders, it was a big, big group, and then you'll just see the incident there. Number 70 on the ground, and it all just bunched up on the inside. Riders trying to initially take avoiding action of the first rider, and then as they did that, everyone piled into the inside.
Turn 5 is a pinch point, especially on lap 1. When you have a group of riders, it just takes one incident, and it just bunches up.
And now, side by side, heading to turn 1. Bahosa's on the outside though, so Ramadhipa holds firm in P1 as we head to turn 1. Now, of course, keep in mind, 2 long lap penalties to serve for Bahosa. That should be around 6 seconds lost, maybe even a little bit more with it being so slippy out there. You don't want to throw it down the road at long lap penalty loop.
Absolutely not, and obviously if he goes on the green while he's taking that long lap, he'll then have to do it again, so he has to be very careful. I suspect his strategy was to try and get away at the start and get as much of a gap as possible. Hasn't been able to do that. We're seeing a 5-rider group fighting for victory here, and it looks like he's just making a move into the lead ahead of Ramadhipa under braking at turn 5.
Yeah, now of course we'll carry on. Ramadhipa fighting back straight away as, well, they make their way towards turn 6 now, and then we're heading towards where the long lap penalty actually is located. So 69, will he take the first of his long laps this time around? It looks like he will, so diving into the long lap penalty now. Should lose around 2 or 3 seconds. Where will this drop him back to? He entered P3 inside the podium places, and now he slots in. Is that Carlos Cano that he slots in behind? So perhaps P13 at the moment now for the 69. We'll wait for that 2 update, but Carlos Cano nonetheless inside the point scoring positions, and that is going to be job done for one of Bajosa's long lap penalties.
It is, and we'll check how much time he lost taking it. As you said, Cano up to 13th at the moment, and it looked like Bajosa was around Cano when he rejoined, so 12th, 13th place perhaps for the Spaniard.
As now Alvaro Lucas looking up the inside. The 69 looks up the inside, but the CF Moto Aspar rider thinking better of it, slotting back into P3 for the time being. Now, of course, Ramadhipa, super impressive in qualifying, now leading the race. Longarella sets the fastest lap, but that was soon beaten by 2 free riders as Carlos Cano now holds the fastest lap. So Cano pushing on. Perhaps this is going to be his charge to get inside the top 10 as Gabarini hits the front once more. So the 81 showing true pace and showing that he belongs in P1.
Yeah, obviously ran wide on the first lap from pole position, but hasn't let it affect him. He's just quietly gone about his business. Now back in the front. We see Cano and Bajosa going side by side on the run into turn 5. And Bajosa looks like he's ahead. Is he going to go up the inside of the number 20 as well? He is.
A solid move there. Of course, Cano, he's had work to do, and he was, as we see actually, a crash there for the 26. So disappointment there for him. So that will be an end as the marshals try and get that bike off to safety. Deep gravel as well for them, and clearly that bike not wanting to be moved easily as Alvaro Lucas now hits the front, and yet the second long lap penalty has been made by Bajosa. So a solid long lap yet again as just ahead now, and still a nice safe rejoin in the finish up. But the 46 at the front of this field, and at the start of this lap it was the 81, your pole sitter, who was in P1. Now he's dropped all the way back to P5 as Alex Longarella, your championship leader, looks to be on the attack. And well, Jack, it's been a great season so far for Longarella, and you have to say, if he can walk away with another victory, that's going to be his. That's going to be some solid championship points. Another 25 points will be what he wants to get as he looks up the inside of Alvaro Lucas.
It will be, yeah, exactly what he's looking for. As we see, they come through the final chicane, taking a couple of different lines. Some riders hitting the curbs a bit more. Alex Longarella getting some encouragement from his team on the pit wall. And we see the number 4, battle for the lead through turn 1. Just trying to see who that is. It's the number 45, so it is Longarella who takes the lead. Gambarini running wide again at turns 2 and 3. We've just had confirmation that the number 99 has taken, so that's Remy Samuan has completed his long lap penalty. As we head down on the run through turns 4 and into turn 5. And it's Christian Borelli who has the slipstream. Alex Longarella, it's Borelli who actually makes the move. It's very tight through turn 5. Longarella taking the lead through the run into turn 5. Christian Borelli now in P1.
Yeah, great ride so far for the number 7. And well, it's been a great race so far for him. And now he's going to be hoping to try and take the lead. He's going to be hoping to take victory, but Lucas on the attack straight away on the 46. 5 laps remaining. So moving into the closing stages of this European Talent Cup race, this is where moves begin to be important. This is where you need to set yourself up in a nice position. It's almost 3 wide heading into the Imola section of the circuit, the chicane, as Longarella now slots back into P2. Lucas back down to P3, potentially now second position once again, but Carlos Cano, he's lurking. P4, the number 1, is on the attack, and he wants another 25 points to his name so far this season. He wants redemption after a tricky weekend over at Jerez. Of course, he started on pole position, but it wasn't smooth sailing for him. The championship leader, Longarella, is clearly not scared to get his elbows out.
He's not. Longarella just taking, well, I think he was forced wide there. Carlos Cano, as Lewis mentioned, up to 4th place. An incredible comeback. He's actually into 3rd now. He's ahead of his championship rival. So, Cano from the 9th row, fighting for the podium positions out in front. Borelli is leading Alvaro Lucas, but there's nothing to separate them, and turn 3 will be crucial. It's time to get the power down. Whoever gets the power down first will have a huge advantage on the long run in to the Adelaide hairpin. Carlos Cano just sitting behind the top two at the moment. Bahusa has set the fastest lap of the race. Under-braking for Alvaro Lucas, getting very squirrely under-braking for Adelaide hairpin, but able to keep it together, remaining in second place as he looks to attack Christian Borelli, the race leader. Carlos Cano sitting in third, just ahead of Alex Longarella, as the two title rivals fight for the podium positions. Cano has come from the 9th row of the grid. After the 180-degree corner, it's Borelli who still leads ahead of Alvaro Lucas, but Lucas is close. Is he going to make a move into the chicane? He thinks about it, but decides against it. There are other overtaking opportunities to come. Cano forces his way up the inside of Lucas and Borelli at turn 13. He goes from third to first in one move, and he signals for the riders behind him to follow, but Borelli is on the inside through turn 14. He isn't able to make that move stick. They're 4 wide behind Cano into turn 15. All able to keep it together, positions changing as they cross the line, and now just 3 laps to go in this shortened ETC Race 1. Cano leading ahead of Alvaro Lucas and Alex Longarella across the line. It looks like he's trying to build up a bit of a gap. He's gained 25 positions so far, has the number 1. The gap will probably come down on the run through turns 3 and 4 into turn 5.
So Cano leading the way here. So the number 1 showing his authority once more. Longarella and Lucas. Now they've been on attack from lap 1. And well, you have to wonder, is that just going to be a strategy to try and bunch everyone up once again? Because quite a few riders, they do enjoy a group battle, and they do enjoy being able to get in the mix and allow other riders to trip up each other.
They do, and we just see Alex Longarella leading the race. Now he just gets ahead, and Alvaro Lucas passes Cano as well, but Cano's fighting back into the 180-degree corner. Can he do 2 for 1 once again? He can. Although it looks, yes, no, he has been able to make it stick. It is a big group fighting for P1 at the moment.
Yeah, it's classic European Talent Cup stuff. Longarella and Cano go side by side. The 2 of the top contenders here in 2025. It's prime time stuff here with 3 laps remaining. It's everything to play for. It's elbows out as Cano goes up the inside. The number 1 goes through. Lucas also tries to get himself into the podium positions once more. Bahosa continues his attack. Now keep in mind, 2 long lap penalties, and now about to snatch the lead, although they're 3 wide once more. Ramadhipa as well, trying to make up a few positions. That's going to demote the likes of Longarella further down the order. So Longarella all the way back down to P5, and already the field taking a lot of curb at the final chicane as Cano's side by side. Here's the inside line for turn 1, and well, the number 1, the reigning champion, back into P1.
He had a superb exit out of that chicane. They took slightly different lines, and that helped Cano back into the lead through turns 1, 2 and 3, but he now is giving everyone else a tow behind him.
Yeah, he's giving everyone a run for their money, that is for sure. As we head on to the penultimate lap, the 69 looks up the inside. That is Bahosa. Up the inside he goes, and straight away as well, the 45 Longarella. Everyone's going to try and take opportunity and push Cano further down the order. Obviously this race, Cano, he's had a dramatic one. Started from P26, started all the way back down the order. He's been used to fighting with people all the way throughout the race. Obviously, reigning champion, plenty of experience fighting at the front, but it's one thing to do it at the front, it's another thing to fight through the field and still have the pace, still have the tyre underneath you to fight as we near the final lap.
It absolutely is, and he seemed to do it quietly as well. He sort of just made gains every lap, but without making everyone aware that he was making those gains, and then suddenly in the lead of the race.
Yeah, definitely. It was. He's done it in a silent way, but as we say, actions speak louder than words. He's up inside the top 5 at the moment, and he sits waiting for an opportunity. Of course, we may have a back marker coming into play as well in this final lap. So a completely new challenge for this field as they come towards the final sector and make their way into what's known as the high school complex. heavy into the braking zone once more. And Alvaro Lucas, his bike's on the move underneath him, but he does get it stopped. He gets it turned and gets it out towards the final chicane now. Tricky to make a move through the final chicane, but it's all on your exit as we enter the final lap. Longarella leads from Ramadhipa with Lucas in third, Cano in P4 and Bahosa in P5.
It's going to be a very tense final lap. We've got Cano looking for a remarkable victory from 26 on the grid. His title rival will obviously want to prevent a points gain for the number one. And Ramadhipa through turn 4, that looked like taking the lead. Obviously, that will change on the run into turn 5.
Yeah, on the braking zone at turn 5, you'd think one or two moves still to be made. Ramadhipa, though, has the inside line. Heavy on the brakes. It is Cano who was bravest. As now we continue our battle. We continue our run with 3/4 of a lap left. And well, the team watches on. Cano's team watches on with, I'm sure, a little bit of enjoyment, but right now it'll be mainly nerves as Cano, a save, and then he is down. Cano, he lost the front. He tried to save it, and when saving it, it brought him back into the middle of the circuit. So the number one is down on the deck. And definitely some disappointment there. His team watches on in disappointment. They'll go again, of course, later on in race 2. Ramadhipa leads with Lucas. It's just them two at the moment. There's a slight gap to the rest of the field. That's Longarella, who has crashed. Your championship leader is down. Now, we spoke about the championship gap before this one. It can change in a blink of an eye, as this race is going to go down to the wire once more. It's last lap time, it's last sector time, folks, here in the ETC. Cano and Longarella walk off as Ramadhipa leads with just 2 corners remaining. Ramadhipa is going to win race 1 of ETC, celebrates over the line, and it is going to be the 32 in P1. What a finish, what a result. 98 thousandths of a second. Ramadhipa wins from Alvaro Lucas. Of course, number 7 of Borelli will take the final spot on the podium. Bahosa in P4. Gabarini P5 after starting from pole. But frustrations, you would have to think, for both riders, really. But Cano, a small mistake, a small error, a massive, massive price to pay. And of course, for your championship leader, did absolutely nothing he could have done, that is for sure. But Cano, he really wonders what could have been a solid ride, and now he's going to have all that work to do again. Ramadhipa, though, does win. 3rd in the championship now. For him, 60 points to his name on the Honda Asian Dream Racing Junior team. Of course, part of the junior talent team is Ramadhipa. And what a result it has been. It's been a long time coming, that is for sure. As Alvaro Lucas missing out by less than a 10th. He'll be disappointed, but he'll go back to the drawing board because he knows that a good result is on the cards. P2 is still a good result, but being that close to victory has got to hurt just a little. Borelli takes P3, Bahosa P4, and there is Borelli celebrating the Italian, absolutely loving every single bit of this cool down lap. The marshals applauding the riders, of course, and not much of a conversation, of course, between Cano and Longarella, you would think, on this final lap. So they sit at the side of the track as our riders enter Parc Fermé. That is going to be Ramadhipa celebrating the win with his team and with his teammate, actually, at the moment. An unforgettable day, that is for sure. P1 for the 32. And of course, 25 points added to his championship tally. European Talent Cup, they will be back out later on this afternoon for another race. So 50 points up for grabs for the ETC this weekend. As P1 just check